Hello, my lovelies. Welcome to my homepage. I hope you find my story very inspiring, and as you know, you are never alone. So let's begin. So, our love affair, it was not the knight in shining ornament moment. We weren't high school or college sweethearts. I was 38 and single, and he was 53 and divorced with 3 children. But yet, our world collided when when he made a call to the computer help desk I was working at the time. His voice was very smooth. After some time speaking professionally back and forth, he invited me to have lunch with him. Now, after a time, he wanted me to hang out with him. I didn't want to. Eventually, he wanted me in a different way. I didn't want him. You know how they go, blah, blah, blah. So one day, a year and a half later, in a still small voice, something told me to call him. He answered and he said, "Hey, how are you? I'm glad to hear from you." Then, side note, he had already started dating someone else, so it was fine. I get it. But from there on, and we scheduled our first date. So, as time went on, his feelings grew for me, but mine was still a little skeptical. I didn't like him because he was too short. The shallowness, right? I know. I'm glad I didn't stick with that. So at the time, at the end of our date, he kissed me and he said, "You put something in me." And I said, "No, I don't do voodoo. What do you mean?" Then he says, "I have this overwhelming feeling to take care of you." I was super nervous, but I let it go. Hey, ta-da! From there, my heart grew unexpectedly for him, and he stated, "I'm going to marry you in 18 months. And surely enough, we wed 18 months later on February 12th, 2018. Now, a month before we were married, we found out he was diagnosed with anaplastic large cell lymphoma, ALK negative. The ALK negative is the part that makes it very rare. Only 10% of the world had it at that time. Not sure what it is now. But 3 months before, a bump was growing underneath his chin. And during those months, the doctors were trying to extract samples, but they weren't successful. But finally, they did a biopsy, and then that was end of December. Then the 1st of January, they diagnosed him. So during this fight, we combined holistic and Western treatments. I'm a holistic nut, to increase the chances of his survival. The journey was treacherous, yet rewarding along the way, with many tears, frustrations, and joy. So many people poured into our lives. Friends who are still like family today, and the 2 churches, the one I belong to and the other one, I still consider them family till this day because they labored so deeply for us. And because of our holistic contributions, he actually did survive a lot longer. And he also survived the most potent treatment available of chemo, as though then he was not expected to survive. He went into remission, started to gain weight, was walking without any aid. It was just super amazing. And I failed to say that the cancer had spread to his brain, so that's why he had to take that potent treatment. So fast forwarding, one day, a physical therapist was over, and we noticed something very strange with him, and he wasn't speaking or acting normal. We both agreed that we needed to rush him to the ER, or I needed to rush him to the ER. After we arrived, my stomach dropped when I seen the scans and noticed that the tumor in the brain came back more aggressively. And at this point, we needed a miracle. Fast forwarding, between his rapid decline, it was a Friday night after a couple visited us. He wanted to go to sleep. He was sleepy. So I prayed for him every night like normal. But this time I said, Pray for yourself. His cognitive ability was limited, so the words he did speak was Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. He just kept repeating that. And then he drifted off to sleep. Well, who would have known that was the last time I would see him awake? The next morning, no one could wake him up. He didn't respond to any stimuli. They rushed him to the neuro ICU to do surgery, since the inflammation in his brain was so progressive. And they tried to get the tumor out, but to no avail. It was way too deep. And from there on out, he would continue to decline. He would stay in a coma. And unfortunately, we had to decide to let him pass on. There's so much I couldn't say here that is so vital to the story. It would have made it much longer, so I didn't want to drown it out or prolong it. So this is the very condensed and short version. But even though the tragedy, struggle, and the pain was there are three things that happened here that evolved more. Unconditional love, humility, and the fact that we both live on. And yes, I said we both still live on. I know he's not here. But the fact is, y'all had holy matrimony and y'all became one. And that is something that could never be taken away from you. Never. No matter what anybody tell you. I know your journey because I've lived it and I'm still living it. We are all in different phases of our journey. It doesn't matter how long you've been married. It could be 1 day to 40 years. It doesn't matter. The point is, there was a union created, and the loss is just as painful. I would love to walk this journey with you and help you live your most confident and best life to grow into who you were made for this world and who you ought to be. Because we are all here for each other on this earth. Though your spouse may not be here, it does not mean that your position in this world has finished. There's a reason why you are still here. And I'm here to help you pick the color to your path while you're on your journey. I would love to hear from you and hear your story. Leave me your comments on my homepage. It's at the bottom right hand corner. Or if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Trust me, there are no dumb or stupid questions. Love, peace, and blessings.